Yeah.
Well, Jeremy Bishop, welcome to Next Generation Entrepreneur. Everybody, thank you so much for being on the show. It's crazy because I think we've been talking about this for literally months.
Long time.
Months. Same
now.
thing with Bishop. Same thing with Bishop, you're Bishop. With Tyler Smalls and Andrew Yeager. Super excited for you guys to be here, man.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to ask. First off, let's get the viewers a little insight on who you are, who Jeremy Bishop is. Obviously, the Periscope already know who you are.
Right.
But let the viewers know. Who exactly Jeremy Bishop is.
Cool. Well, what's going on, guys? My name is Jeremy Bishop, and I'm excited first off to be here. I'm grateful. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
And what I'm all about good energy. I have this philosophy that things in your life and our life can get better day by day, down to the most simple thing, just shifting your energy from a negative to a positive. So I like to be in business for myself. I like connecting with entrepreneurs all over the world. I like to be creative, and I'm excited to see what we can accomplish with this.
Man, definitely. So you got to start into entrepreneurship via network marketing. I talked to Andrew Yeager and Tyler Smalls. You were in the organization as well. Let's give an insight into how you were in network marketing, what you thought of it, and for anyone else who's in there, what advice can you give them?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anybody that's just getting into entrepreneurship right now or is already involved, network marketing was my introduction. At the time, I was in a touring metal band, and I was spending a lot of time on the road. I was working a part-time job, and I was utilizing that money from that part-time job just to be able to go on tour and live my passion and focus on my passion. There came a point in my life when I was 19 years old where I stopped touring for a little bit. I was still working that part-time job, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. I had no idea what the word entrepreneur meant. I didn't know what business was. I didn't know what it was to build an income, a residual income, or to network with people. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't realize what I was doing. Because I had been doing it for all my life, right? But I had no idea that I could really focus in on those things, and so I ended up meeting a guy, which I think is how it happens for a lot of people. You meet a woman, you meet a guy that change everything, and it was just a friend inviting me over to his house, and a young guy was just talking about going into business for yourself. Putting down the silly stuff that young people, are all a part of it at age 18 to 21. The drinking, the games, and all that other stuff, so something clicked with me that day, and that's all it was. Something clicked with me that there were people out in the world doing things different than everyone else, and it just happened to be that he was in the industry of network marketing. So I took him up on that. I spoke with him about it, and I got really fired up about the idea of building a network of people all around the same vision, all sharing an incredible product, and being able to earn an income because of that, and being able to work for yourself. So
definitely, man. Let's just keep rolling off of that, because network marketing has such a I think the real question I want to say, there's so many industries. Which is why I kind of started NGE All Access. There's so many industries, there's so many jobs out there. You were touring. How did that start? Let's talk about the music stuff a little bit too.
Yeah.
Following your passion, maybe.
Music has been a part of my life since I can remember. I think it was second or third grade that I got my first drum set for Christmas.
Oh wow!
And ever since then, a lot of parents buy their kids a skateboard or a guitar or a drum set, and a lot of them expect it to kind of be a fad and for it to just kind of, fade away after a few months or a year. And it just didn't for me. I just fell in love with the drums, and I've only taken one lesson in my entire life. And I just taught myself, and I started to network with friends. In fourth grade, I was building relationships with other kids that wanted to play music, and that turned into us spending hours and hours and hours a day recording music, recording our next hit, hit song on the little 8-track, on top of my mom's freaking, washing machine in the basement, right? So it started at that, and then it grew into a bigger band, and then at one point during middle school, 3 high schoolers, the older guys, the big guys, they saw how talented 3 younger guys were, and we connected and created this 6-piece metal band. And I mean, we must have played 300-400 shows within like a few year period. Wow. And I was only 13, 14 years old. So that was just my introduction to music in general. I went on to be in a band that was a well-known local band, and then I was hired and I joined a professional touring band with a CD in stores and spent about 1.5 years touring professionally, and that was just a blast. A lot of my friends have been in the industry for years. Music's a huge passion of mine, so yeah.
Why did you leave it behind?
So when I, sometimes we set a goal, right? And when you reach that goal is when you really find out what it is that you've been chasing after for so long. Music has nothing to do with touring or that industry in the metal industry. But I spent, just a short amount of time in the metal industry. And, number one, I was able to impact kids on a daily basis, and meeting new people and telling them, hey, you can be up on stage doing this too. You can go put out a CD in stores if you want. You just gotta work for it. You gotta see it. And after 1.5 years of doing that, I mean, I was blessed, and I'm so grateful to have that opportunity, but there was just something missing. I wasn't impacting people the way I wanted to. I wasn't spending my time the way I'd like to. 5 guys in a van, sweaty for a month.
I know, because I do the music stuff too. I see it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I'd spend 30 days on the road at a time. No family, not being able to see friends. Living off of $5 a day, and for some people that's the life, and they continue to live it. It's just this awesome like carefree lifestyle in a sense. But I just started to grow through it really, really quick. And so within 1.5 years, I started to meet people that were doing things that really, really, really inspired me. And that was when I shifted into
network marketing.
Yeah, network marketing.
Before this, we actually had a really cool conversation. I kind of regret that we didn't record it, but I was talking about achieving an ultimate goal, and I was asking you, is JB your ultimate goal? And we'll get into JB,
sure.
But I don't know if you can recap on why you don't have an ultimate goal. That really, I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense, because a lot of us, we want this ultimate goal.
Right.
For some people, it's retirement. For other people, it's a lot of money. Some people
Family.
travel the world, whatever it is.
Right.
Why don't you have one?
Yeah, well, so Mario asked me earlier. He said, "What is your ultimate goal?" And when you ask some people that, sometimes it's scary. It's scary. It's like, wait, I'm supposed to know what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, what's my number one goal? This one thing. So that's really scary. And for me, I'm a really laid back individual. Like, the way that my friend put it is, I could live on the beach in my board shorts. I'm a beach person. I'm a surfer, skimboarder, anything that has to do with sand and water, I'm there. Mm-hmm. I could live on the beach in my board shorts with nothing, but I'll end up driving a Rolls Royce down the road. Mm-hmm. That's the yin and yang to me, right? And so when I think about this ultimate goal, and I think about my state of flow and how opportunities flow my way, and the people that I meet and things that happen in my life that have made me who I am now, I can't help but accept the fact that for me right now, there is not one ultimate goal. If I were to tell you that there's one thing right now that I'm going to work on for the rest of my life in order to get to that place, I probably would be lying to you. So there is no ultimate goal for me at the moment. There are tons and tons and tons of ultimate things on a daily basis that are just as important as that end result. And whatever happens, and whoever I become is because of all of those little things added up.
Definitely. But for the people who do have that ultimate goal, like I was telling you,
mm-hmm.
my interviews, like you said, at the time may be my ultimate goal.
Right.
And I was telling how much it stressed me. Is there something that you do personally that gets you rid of stress? Because I know people go through stressful moments all the time. What do you do to get rid of stress when it comes to going after your goals and maybe not hitting them?
Right. I mean, this sounds so cliche, but I think that number one, you got to be grateful for where you're at, right? Some people are so focused on that next step that they forget what they've done. They forget what they've been through. They forget who they've become. Yeah. You know, think about, if you're watching this interview, think about who you are today compared to 2-3 years ago in your life. Why are you watching this interview with NGE, the next generation entrepreneur? Because I'll tell you what, 3-4 years ago, you know, I wasn't doing this. I didn't have this mindset. I didn't even know what it meant to have a philosophy. You know, I didn't have 30 books at my house based on success. I didn't have this mindset. So, you know, so I know it is scary, but the reality is that work on what you are working on right now. Stay focused on it. Don't stress about whether or not it's that one thing, or is this the one thing that's going to bring me. I promise the world will bring you in the direction that you want to go in, and you'll know later down the road when you look back, which is why it's important to look back and say, wow, I'm really glad that happened. I'm really glad that I went through that. Maybe that wasn't my thing. Like you just said, you know, hey, you know, why aren't you touring anymore, Jeremy? How come you're not touring, right? I'm really glad I went through that, but at this point in time, I don't feel as though that's what I need to do. You know, it's crazy.
Definitely.
15, 16 years of drumming, and, you know, that's not what I'm doing right now.
Steve Jobs said, you can never connect the dots
moving forward,
but you can always connect them looking backwards.
Right.
And I for the longest time, I didn't understand it till I did things, and then 3 years later, I was like, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
Those little things that happened that destroyed your life for like that 1 week, that 2 days.
Right.
It all makes sense now. You know,
right.
It really does. I remember I called you, because I call you all the time. You probably get annoyed of it. It was coming out of a space of lack versus coming out of a space of abundance.
Right.
For me, it's always money. Money's always that big thing where I'm always worried about it. And you told me you need to learn how to become coming from a place of abundance. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because it's like sometimes I still get confused about it.
Yeah, absolutely. For anybody that is feeling in or living in lack of, right? And so the idea and my personal philosophy is like I mentioned when we start this thing, it's that life can get better day by day. I don't know how I came up with this philosophy. It just kind of flowed to me one day, and it's like that feeling when you hit that 3-point shot. If you ever play basketball and you hit that 3-point shot and it just right through the net, swish right through the net. And it's that feeling that you can have every single day, no matter if there is enough money in your bank account or not enough money in your bank account, in your opinion, to whether things went, you know, just the way you wanted today, or whether they went a little bit in a different path today and it kind of, you had to deal with things. Living in abundance means being grateful, being present, realizing that if you're watching this interview right now, you're probably better off than someone halfway across the world that won't even get water this week. I mean, it's just that simple, is that we worry about things.
Does it always go back to being grateful? Like being grateful for what we have?
Yeah, man, I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
That's as far as I've gotten. Yeah, as it just always ends up going back to, wait a minute, if you're stressed about only having a certain amount of money, you're stressed about not being as far ahead in your life as you want to be. A lot of entrepreneurs that are going to watch this are going to think to themselves, if I don't have a nice car, if I'm not doing the next big thing, then I'm not on it. And that's not true.
Yeah, and I called you about that, and I told you, I was debating whether getting this car, I think it was like a BMW, or getting like a simple car, and you said it yourself. I think you said, my grandparents, who have more money than me, own 2 Priuses, yet I have the nicest car in the family.
And I have the least amount of money.
Yeah, and that really blew my mind, because, you know, we look at all these pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and you see all these nice cars, but in reality, sometimes those people don't really have what they show, right? Right.
I mean, you said it yourself. You said you met a guy that, you know, had a nice car, and you thought he had everything going for him, and you told him how much money you had saved over the years, and he was blown away. Yeah. He said, you've got more money saved than I do. Uh-huh. Isn't that something?
It did. It blew my mind. This is something that might be a little personal. I don't know how you feel about it, but there's people out there that are in relationships that have a partner, whether it's family members or for you it's your girlfriend, you've been with her for over 3 years.
Yeah.
How is it pursuing your dreams? I'm assuming your girlfriend supports you 100%, but is there ever that moment when that person doesn't support you? What should you do? What advice should you give people when their partner is not supporting them in the dreams that they have?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a whole nother world. First I got to start by just saying I'm grateful for my girlfriend, Michaela. I love you so much. I appreciate you and dealing with me through the ups and downs. I've known my girlfriend since high school, and we weren't together in high school. We were with other people, but we ended up coming together, in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. And so she saw me when I went up, and she saw me when I went down, and she saw me when I went up. And the cool thing is she's still here, right? And, and she was the strongest person throughout all of this. She was this steady rock. And I truly think that it is difficult to find a partner like that. Sometimes it can be really difficult. So if you're dealing with a situation where that person that you're with feel as though they're holding you back, number one, you just got to come back. You got to be grateful for what you have, right? What has this person done for you? On those late nights when there's no one else there and this person's there for you talking and you're hanging out and you're having the sleepover with that person. It's like, you got to be grateful, because they don't have to be there. They could just walk out. And then number two, you really have to figure out what your priorities are. The funny thing is, and I'm glad that we're talking about relationships because it's something that a lot of people miss, and then it ends up coming back. It ends up being an issue because they haven't thought about it at all. But being an entrepreneur, I mean, a lot of people need to focus on their dreams and focus on their passion. And for me, I look at so many young people that are focused on trying to find a girl or going out to the bar just to feel wanted, right? To feel like there's somebody that they need to go get that next girl, or go on Instagram and go, comment and like somebody's pictures and things like that. And the reality is that, dude, I'll tell you guys, for me, it feels phenomenal to have that person in my life and to not worry about whether someone does or doesn't like me every day, right? Or to go out of my way, because it takes just as much energy. If you've ever read Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter that's called Sex Transmutation, right? And it's it's the philosophy of taking the same energy that you would put in to go find a girlfriend, or to go, really at the core of it, go have sex with a girl. You're using all of this energy to do that could be used for something greater in life.
It's funny that you talk about that, because the guys here actually just reread that chapter and they're applying it to their lives, right? It's hilarious. We've been talking about it all day.
Yeah, I just read the chapter myself a week ago.
It's too much for these guys to know what's been going on. But,
yeah.
It was hilarious because they actually been talking about that, and I'm probably going to go reread the chapter. So we're back. I had a couple questions. We're going to get into Periscope and Facebook Live. Do you know what Meerkat is or no?
I do, but I've never even downloaded it. I'm not sure what it is.
It's like the competition to Periscope. It's funny because Gary Vaynerchuk actually invested in it, and he uses Periscope more, and now he uses Facebook Live more. And it's just that's just the market. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But you've been building your own brand, Well, let's talk about JB and how you use Periscope.
Let's talk about JB.
Yeah. So first of all, JB. This is JB. First of all, Jeremy Bishop. But you turned that into a brand. You're branding yourself as Jeremy Bishop. Explain that a little bit better. What JB is first, then we'll get into the branding later.
So JB. As a brand is not just me, right? My idea of JB is a community. Which is cliche. It sounds cliche, but it's the idea of JB is not just me. It's a whole bunch of people coming together, sharing their ideas, their philosophies, their content, experiences, and being able to, you almost imagine it as this pool where people are firing off ideas towards one another, and whoever needs that idea can take it and apply it through action in their life. So that's what the Periscope's for. That's what the motivational content's for. The ability to connect with people and share something like that. Yep.
Yeah. When did you decide to do that? It's something that I always talk about, and some people actually get offended. I know this chick. I don't know if she's ever going to watch this, but she's a makeup artist, and I was like, "Why are you in makeup?" I said the wrong word. I was like, "Why are you in makeup? There's so many other makeup artists." And I wanted to say crowded space. Why do people get into crowded spaces? It's their passion. there's so many other motivational dudes out there. There's so many, and same thing goes for interviews. I can't even just say it on you, but
right.
Why do people go after these spaces? Why did you do it? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that is a funny thing, isn't it? It's odd that people end up doing what other people do, right? So it does seem that way. I mean, if you go look on Facebook right now in the entrepreneurial world, you'll see so many people are just building their brand, building motivational, inspirational content, things like that. I think I was meant to do it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I think it's in my DNA. And the cool thing is, when I talk about building this brand and why did I decide to build the brand, I've been building my brand my entire life. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been doing it since I was, 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Ever since I could speak, I was building my brand, right? And so it's cool because, and I want people to realize this, is it's not just what you put out on the internet that's your brand, right? Part of working with me, if I do a brand analysis with you and I help you just completely shift and take a 180 on your product and on your service and on you, is a lot of people want more followers and more likes. I want to teach you how to take that and turn it into a phone number in your phone, a contact, being able to talk to that person. I had a lady ask me yesterday, do you have a business card? No. I've been in business for myself for 3-4 years. I don't have a business card. Yeah, I'm like, give me your number. I said, the people that give me their business cards, I never talk to. The people that give me their number and their contact information are the people I build the best relationships with.
Mm-hmm. Damn, that's crazy. Wow, that's very good advice, guys. Make sure you guys listen. It actually blew me away a little bit. So let's get into branding, because I know you're working with a couple guys that work with branding as well. What steps did you take to brand, JB? You have Periscope, you have Facebook Live, you have other stuff. Is there any particular things that are advice for these guys, like if they want to start branding their own, anything, any company, their name?
Sure.
What advice can you give to these guys?
So I think that branding is going to be the future resume. Mm-hmm. So when someone thinks about Mario, when someone thinks about Jeremy Bishop, or someone thinks about NGE, next generation entrepreneur, what are they going to do, right? They're not going to go searching for the book on you, the book that's written about you. They're not going to go search for your resume to see if they want to connect with you or partner with you. They're going to go to the internet, they're going to type in your name, and they're going to see who's talking about you, who's sharing your content, who's liking your content, who are you connected with, and what type of content, what type of ideas and philosophies do you embody as a brand, as a person, as a company. Mm-hmm. And that right there is the future resume. So advice for branding, I think that you gotta, number one, just do what feels right. Like, there is no, I don't think, we could talk about a right or wrong way, down to the specifics, like what platform to use, what to build on. I think that you just gotta focus in on one, 2, 3 things and just make it work for you, right? So branding doesn't mean it has to be motivational. Branding doesn't mean you've got to sit there for 4 hours before you type in your status, right? People get so worried about what other people think about their status. I think it's really cool when people just fire off, content and fire off how they feel, because that's probably when the best content comes, right?
Definitely. But what I've also seen is there's people that produce content, but they want to produce so much of it that the quality starts getting diluted. I know every time I watch your stuff, I'm always learning something new. Do you prepare before you do Periscopes, or what do you do before you do something like that?
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people just want to be noticed, mm-hmm. and so then they end up missing, they miss their best content because it's just like trying to be out there. But the thing is, my partner in the world of branding, like if you were to want to learn how to build your brand for a month with myself and my close friend, he would tell you need to put out content every single day. Mm-hmm. He's like, you gotta put it out. This kid is started when he was 15, 16, 17 years old building a YouTube account, and we just found out yesterday his total amount of minutes watched is over 4 years on his YouTube account. Wow. And it ranges from everything from tech reviews all the way to mindset and inspiration and motivation. So, Yes, I believe that preparing for content is good. I believe that you are in your best state when you're in a flow state and you're just feeling good. Like, and we're just doing this.
Yeah,
right?
like a lot of people, I've had interviewees. They're like, "Oh, what are the questions? What are the questions you're gonna ask me?" I was like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people don't know. This is off the top of my head. All of us. I never prepare before anything.
He didn't hand me a script or anything.
Nothing. Yeah, people are like a little shocked, and it's just what feels good to me, what questions come out, and that's what makes. Because there's so much BS in the world. There's so much fake stuff that people are starting to appreciate the raw, the unfiltered.
Oh yeah, I love that. Real. Yes, that's why I hop on something like Periscope, where I can sit on my front porch at my house and connect with 300 people all over the world, and just share what's on my mind at the moment, share what's real from my heart and from my mind. So yes, I agree with raw content. I think that it's too easy to get wrapped up in your brand and this idea of what you are, when in reality it's like, dude, it's more important to me that I have your number and that I can call you than it is for you to like my status.
It's crazy because I've seen you on Periscopes where you're like, reach out to me. Like, random people from all across the world. You're like, reach out to me. I'd love to help you out.
And some people do.
Yeah.
And I build new relationships. I met a guy that's doing, network marketing in freaking Argentina. Like, I'm helping him. I'm giving him some advice on branding and things like that.
Wow.
And you don't get that from just a like and feeling good about someone viewing your content or someone seeing it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's a guy on the West Coast that I just recently met that makes these incredible short films, right?
Okay.
The most incredible content I've ever seen. The production quality is phenomenal. And I look at the YouTube account, and he doesn't even have a profile picture, and he's got 50 views on the video. Mm-hmm. So there is there needs to be a balance between focusing strictly on your content and then, of course, marketing. And building your brand. Because if you're not out there, then someone else who has half the quality is going to be seen.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. Can you give the viewers a quick reason why you're using Periscope more than you use Facebook Live, and maybe what the differences are and why you do that? Because I know you gave a good concept.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there are a few reasons why I chose Periscope. Maybe I do Periscope more often than Facebook. Number one, Periscope is a new platform. So I like the idea that Periscope is still building their algorithm. Mm-hmm. Periscope's still trying to figure out how to make this happen. And Periscope is at that point where they're like, hey, we need people to run this thing. We need big names, and we need big names to put on our front page so that, we can have people utilizing it. Definitely. So I like Periscope because I think that, if you take advantage of it right now, down the road, if you're consistent with it, you can build a big brand with it.
For yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then you said, I think Facebook Live only targets people that are your friends already.
Yeah. I mean, when you're on Facebook Live, what's going on, guys? When you're on Facebook Live, you're able to hit your audience that you already have there, which is great. I think Facebook Live is an awesome way to hit a target market, especially if you've already built one. But I don't think it hits as many random, totally, from all over the world people that Periscope would, or that some new app that's still being developed would. So I like this. I think it's raw. I think it's different. I think that it's almost like a video blog for me, whereas Facebook is just a different platform that I use. And I've used Facebook Live before. It's been phenomenal. I've been able to impact, had people contact me, tell me thank you. We had 500 live viewers on a Facebook Live, but I just have more fun firing off on Periscope.
Definitely, and there's a little bit more interactions as well. That's what I see.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe there's a couple other things, but definitely we're coming a little bit closer to the end of the interview. I know you're short on time, and you're going to do a video with Brandon, I believe, as well. You actually took one of the questions away from me, which I asked. Same thing with Ty. Ty brought up his philosophy. Can you restate what the philosophy means to you? What philosophy or moral that you live by every single day?
Yeah, I mean, I just have this idea that things in your life and in our lives can get better day by day. Mm-hmm. So wherever you're at today, no matter what you do, no matter what car you drive, no matter what house you live in, things can get better. You can start right here and grow and become whatever you want to become. Connect with whoever you want to become. Connect with whoever you want to connect with. Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, the success stories of people are endless, and it's funny because the most successful people started at the lowest points.
Definitely. And then, what is the definition of an entrepreneur to you?
Someone who is creative.
Uh-huh.
is really bottom line. I mean, we could talk about monetization, taking something and then creating a product and selling it, right? Creating something and building a community around it, building a brand around it, impacting people. But at the core of it, I think that it's being creative. I think it's being different, being creative, and you know, impacting people.
Definitely. And the final question would be, what does success mean to you? A kid asked me one day, I think it was like at a party or something, he's like, yeah, what does success mean to you, Mario? And I was like, I don't know. And till this day, I still don't know. I talk to these guys, I'm trying to figure out my own definition. What is your definition of success?
Correct me if I'm wrong, is it Napoleon Hill that says, is it the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or worthy goal?
That's his definition.
Yeah, man, I mean, it is. You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
And guys, if we look like we're looking somewhere else, Andrew Yeager, Turner, and
how's it going?
a couple other guys are back in the house, so sorry, pardon the noise. Like I said, this is all raw, this is all live, but let's continue with your definition. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. It's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal and a worthy goal. That's really what it is. And that's why when you ask me, what's my ultimate goal? Well, I don't have one ultimate goal. I don't have, because what am I going to say? Well, I want to look great. I want to feel great. I want to have a lot of money. I want to live in a nice house and drive a nice car. There's all these different things. I want to build business, right? I don't have that ultimate goal, because success is the progressive realization of all of these worthy ideals and all of these worthy goals that make up you and I.
Definitely. All right, so I've been doing this religiously. They already know what I'm going to do probably, but I give a gift to my interviewees.
Awesome.
So let's see what the magic little guy has for your Bishop.
Uh-oh.
And it's this book that I was actually reading earlier. It's a John C. Maxwell book.
Let's go.
And I know you're a great leader. You're still building a lot. So they actually have the 21, I think it's laws of a leader. This is the 21 qualities of a leader. So I hope you like it.
Thank you. Appreciate
on top
that.
of that, you actually get to ask the viewers a question. That question could be anything that you want to be answered. It can be about business, or it can just be something personal as well.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you're watching this interview right now, my question to you would be, if you could, for the next month, work on anything that you want to work on in the entire world and be paid full-time for it, what would it be? What would you start doing right now? What changes would you make right now in order for you to live that life?
Nice. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man, so much for being on the show.
All right, boss.
All right, that's a wrap.